What's up everyone, my name is techgeekjosh and you're watching the video review of the all-new ZTE Blade Spark. With the ZTE Blade Spark we get a nice 5.5 inch Corning Gorilla Glass 3 scratch resistant panel that's 1280 by 720 with support for 16.7 million colors. And if we even try and look close, the pixels are not visible. This display is really nice to look at and it feels amazing. Like the glass that they used is very high quality, and like it has some sort of a mild taper to the edges as well as the top, so it feels really nice when you're scrolling between pages and just touching it overall. Very nice screen on the ZTE Blade Spark. In the rear, the ZTE Blade Spark is equipped with a 13 megapixel camera. Right underneath that, LED flash and also a fingerprint scanner. The camera is equipped with panorama, multi-exposure and time-lapse. And it also has a front-facing 5 megapixel shooter. And since we're talking about the camera, let's go ahead and explore the camera interface. So here's what the camera interface looks on the Blade Spark. Up here we get your settings icon, which we will get to in a minute. We have your flash auto on or off. Then we get your HDR on or off. Then we get your timer from 1 second all the way up to 20 seconds. And we get your camera switch key all the way on the far top right to switch between your front and rear cameras. And down here we get a back arrow. If you press that, it'll just go back to the main screen. Then we get 3 little circles here, and if we tap that, we get all your effects such as low-mo, sepia, mono, cool, none, comic, warm, mirror, and fisheye. Got quite a few effects to choose from. And this big white button in the center is to take a photo. You tap that and it takes your photo. And right down here, you can't tell anymore, but you tap that and you can preview your recently taken photos and videos. Oh, speaking of which, I happen to have a photo right here that I took in our car, and I've got to say, it doesn't look half bad whatsoever. And then right here we get your, well, we swipe this way and we get your video mode. Then we get your photo mode and your manual mode, which is for professionals. And if we tap these little 3 dots right here, we get your panorama, multi-exposure, and time-lapse, which I just mentioned. Now let's go ahead and take a look at these settings. I may have to zoom in a bit so you guys can see. So top right here, resolution 13 megapixels 4x3, 10 megapixels 16x9, 8 megapixel 4x3, 6 megapixels 16x9, 5 megapixel 1x1, all the way down to 2 megapixels at 16x9. Then we get your watermark on or off, which is very unique. I have never seen that on any phone before, so this is a first. Shutter tone on or off, geotagging on or off, auto review off, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or always. Volume key, you can use it to take a photo, zoom, or volume. Anti-banding, 60 Hz, 50 Hz, or auto. Save location, help, and restore defaults. And if we scroll over to the video mode, let's go ahead and take a look at the video settings. Video quality, now this does record in full 1080p for the front and rear cameras, which is very nice. Full HD, HD, or MMS. Get your shutter tone on or off, geotagging on or off, anti-banding, 60 Hz, 50 Hz, or auto, save location, help, and restore defaults. As for the chipset in the ZTE Blade Spark, we fire up CPU-Z, and you will see that we are running a quad-core 1.4 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 425 MSM 8917 chipset with a Cortex A53 CPU and an Adreno 308 GPU. With that being said, let's go ahead and open up Geekbench 4 and take a look at a recent test we just ran. No, not device. My mistake. I ran this test earlier and we got a score of 666 for the single core score and 1831 for the multi-core score. And we're not on the board for the single core score, and we are above the LG Nexus 5 but below the Xiaomi Mi 4C on the multi-core by memory. And yes, I actually remembered something like that for once, which I hardly ever remember. Unfortunately, I cannot run a Quadrant Standard test because at the end of the testing, this phone is actually another dud. It will not let you run Quadrant Standard on the device. It'll just say network connection failed. So indeed, this is another dud. The handset comes equipped with 16 gigabytes of built-in storage, but we only get about 6.75 gigabytes available out of that 16 gigabytes. Don't ask me what's taking up all that space because I myself want to know the same thing. But luckily you can further expand storage via the micro SD card slot, which indeed is found on the top left of the handset right there, which is also where your SIM card will be found. The handset also comes equipped with 2 gigabytes of RAM to multitask fluidly. And it also helps with performance. So this device is actually pretty snappy for the most part actually. As you can see, I just opened these up. So tap YouTube, bam. Tap the wallpaper app that I use, bam. Etc. So this device does well with its 2 gigabytes of RAM. A big thumbs up for ZTE on this one because this phone actually runs either the latest or next to the latest Android version, which is 7.1.1 Nougat. And I've got to say, this screen actually looks pretty cool. Powering it all is a surprisingly large but non-removable 3140 mAh battery, which has a reported talk time of 1044 minutes and a standby time of 247.2 hours. And as you will see, right now my battery is currently at 41%, and I have not yet had to charge this device even once when it was being used. So a big thumbs up so far on this battery that's in this phone. So anyway guys, that about does it for me in this video, and I'd like to thank you all for watching the video review of the ZTE Blade Spark. As always guys, I will see you in the next one.